Well, Ben, you're back from the Mallards Invitational Swim Meet. Remarkable performances overall, some 26 to 27 medals. Did the youngsters surprise you at any point?
They didn't surprise me. We went there with an expectation of performing. Really, the competition that we were going to was based off of trying to continue to improve as we were going to the second part of the season. They had just come out of the Christmas camp, so they had been training at a high level, lots of intensity outside of the water specifically. The entire group was in the gym every 6-7 times over the break, along with training here 13 days out of the Christmas break. So they were in great shape, but they were a little bit beat up going into the meet. So what we were looking for was how fast could they swim while they were tired? How fast could they swim when they were not at their peak? And they swam well. We had lots of PBs. Obviously the results were good. The Canadian competition was strong. Really for us it was going to a really good venue. It's a Pan Am pool. We knew that the pool was going to be fast. It also meant that it's a controlled environment, because in Bermuda this time of year we're not always sure what kind of pool we're going to be dealing with. So for that reason, really happy with what we saw from the competition, and it bodes well for what we're looking for coming up.
You usually get athlete that performs well locally and then doesn't do so well when they travel. Were you aware or nervous on how some of these would perform once they got to Canada?
Well, the good thing about this particular trip and this team, so this team has been training together 8 times a week since September. It's a really tight-knit group. They feed off each other. They've been supportive of each other. Obviously, we went away to our overseas camp, which they train well together. Then we went to Plantation. They perform really well at Plantation. So I knew that this group could feed off each other. What we saw was that most of them performed well. It was a learning opportunity because it was a small group. It allows you to have communication with them when you see things that potentially could be better if they were focused a little bit more, a little less nerves. But being at a meet in Canada, out of the blue for us, it's not the intensity of a Carifta or a CC It allows you to kind of do things a little bit differently without some of the same pressure that you would normally feel. And I think they did well.
What were some of the conversations that the kids had with you after competing at a meet where, like you said, unknown?
So the difficult part, there was a bit of a transition because they're like a lot of the meets in Bermuda, no warm up and cool down pool. So some of the results you'll see were based off of having an event and 10 minutes later having another event where you didn't have the opportunity to get back in the water and flush out some of the lactic acid. So that was a learning, right? Understanding that you were going to be, tired and sore from what we had done leading into the competition, and now within the competition you're going event after event after event. There was a little bit of kind of nerves to that. I'm not performing potentially in this event, but then in the next event they did perform. I think most of them got out of it what we wanted to. Some of them we challenged more than others. We gave them a lot of events, which meant that they were going to be tired day after day, which is what you're looking for. So when we get to the meet where we're rested and you're going to be focusing on your main events, now you have the opportunity to really fly.
We have the final Carifta trial or qualifier getting ready to take place, and then the team for Carifta is selected. How are things shaping up for that particular meet, because it is a big one?
Yeah, so obviously you and I have talked over the years as we've been developing, trying to get a bigger team, a stronger team. We put a lot of emphasis on building and getting more swimmers involved. I will say that up until this point, there are 27 swimmers that have actually met the 2 standards that we need. And then this weekend is the last opportunity. So it doesn't just have to happen here. I mean, we have swimmers that are overseas that are swimming meets this weekend as well, and everybody will be sending in their times, and then we'll be compiling that information. Yesterday I sent out a ranking that kind of sets up who's put in what position so that they know what they have to do this weekend. Potentially some people are trying to swim faster in an event that they have already swum so that they can move into the top 2 to be selected. And then it's compiling all the information, putting all those times together. Richard Goodwin and I will be spending a lot of time on Sunday and on Monday trying to put all that information together so that we can give all those results and all the information to our overseas technical committee so that they will then go on to select who will swim in the event and then who will do each individual event when we get there.
Obviously, it's always a trying time for swimmers and parents as well, because you want to see your kid do well, you want to see your athlete do well, and sometimes it doesn't happen on the day. What are there any sort of, I know this is the last chance, but are there any provisions made if you don't have enough who have qualified for an event just to put someone in if they've only met the standard once?
So really where we are is we have an expectation that you have to hit 2 qualifying times. We have one athlete right now that is in that position that has 1 qualifying time and needs to get a 2nd qualifying time. We have a couple others that are really close in several events, but the line is the line. You have to hit the 2 standards, and that makes you eligible for selection. It doesn't mean you're going to get selected. The difficulty for us and the challenge is that only 2 people can swim per event. So potentially, you have 6 swimmers in one age group and they've qualified in the same event. So only the top 2 are going to be able to be selected, which means that potentially you have qualified for the meet, you've made yourself eligible, and you're not going to have the ability to swim the events that you qualified in, or there might not be events left over. So, that's a much tougher conversation that we might be having where I don't have events for you to swim. We also have, with a team this size, potentially, we have the opportunity to have multiple relays. One of the things that's always a challenge for Bermuda to move up the rankings is that we don't normally have the ability to have relays, and relays are a lot of points that we miss out on. Having 27 swimmers already qualified means that we really should be in a position to get multiple relays and to be able to fill every event. If we can get people that cover all the events and we're not getting too many overlaps, then this could be a great opportunity for us to try to score in the top 5.
Could we see someone just traveling to compete in the relays?
It would be difficult just because there's a huge expense to go to the competition, and it's also it's difficult because you want them to have a full experience. And what happens is it's a 4-day competition, usually in really hot weather, and what you don't want is for the experience to be that you're sitting on the bleachers and you're not actually part of the event. Sometimes the relays will only have 8 countries, which means it goes straight to finals, so now you didn't even get a second swim, it's just one opportunity. So really we would hope that if we're going to take someone, we're going to have them do an individual event. We haven't in the past taken somebody just to do a relay, but it is available to us if we thought that it was an opportunity for us to take somebody to get experience and at the same time give us an opportunity to score points, then it is something that we would look at.
In mixed relays, how is that growing?
So obviously that's probably the most exciting event that's been added in swimming in the last few years. At Carifta, it's only available in the 11 and 12 age group. Richard and I have been lobbying for them to actually add a day to the meet, which would then give an opportunity for everybody to swim it. Because it is so exciting. You never really know because of the way the combinations work. Did team 1 use male first, female, and then you get to the end of the race and it could be a boy racing a girl and he's behind, but he has the ability to catch up, and it just makes it super exciting. So I know that our 11 and 12-year-olds will be looking forward to competing in that. It happens on day 3 where the senior athletes will be racing in the 4x200, so a completely different kind of race. But yeah, we're looking forward to having that opportunity.
Any potential open water swimmers this year?
So there's a couple of issues for us with open water swimming. One is that there's an overlap between the competitions, which means that on the final day of swimming competition, you actually have to go to do your safety checks, see the actual course, have an opportunity to potentially swim the course, when for us, those are going to be pool swimmers that are probably going to be swimming the 400 freestyle on that same day. That's one. A couple of years ago, we participated in the event. We were not pleased with the safety. Open water swimming is a completely different setup. So obviously you have to take into consideration the safety element. And if the conditions are not great and the safety boats that you need to have to make sure that you are protecting your athletes is not there, then it's not something that we want to really move into until we are satisfied that we're going to be able to actually make our athletes safe in that competition. So that's where we are right now. If we get more information that says that some changes have been made, then we will look at it.
Audio Jungle.